Hello, it's Chantale from my Page Cafe. I am back for part 6. This is my journal so far. This is the top, and these are all the beautiful signatures that you guys learned, and I showed you how to sew inside your book. Now, hopefully, you guys were able to learn some new things and were able to get this part done. Okay, so with this journal, what I did, there's a piece of little paper there. What I did was I did not sew anything on the sides, okay? Now, usually, there's pieces of papers there. Usually what I do before I sew in my pages is I will sew whatever I want. Like if I want, if I have, let's see if I can find one. See, this is my envelope. So what I do is I didn't close it. Now I can decide to glue it down, make a pocket this way, like you would glue this side and this side, or you could glue it this side and this side and have a pocket this way, or this is the bottom part of my envelope, right? I'll show you the other side. So today what we're going to be doing, I'm going to give you different tips and tricks about how to decorate your journal. Now this part, there is a lot of things you can do. At this point, you can literally be done with this series. But I wanted to extend some different, here's the other side of that envelope. Sorry, I kind of was all over the place there. So, excuse me, still battling that darn cold. This is the end. Now, you could just leave it like that too and do absolutely nothing if you wanted to. What I will do is cut the ends. So I will use my scissor and just cut a little slip off of it. Now the next couple of videos on this, I was supposed to load it up yesterday. Sorry, I had a birthday, so I ended up not getting it done right away. So anyways, so see how you've got a pocket now. Now this video, I keep going back, sorry, is going to be about decorating. I want to show you different tips and tricks that you do not need a sewing machine to do these things. So you can do a lot of stuff without a sewing machine and have a very fun journal with different decorating things. Or you can use your sewing machine, and even if it's already bound into your spine like we did, right? It's all bound. See, I've got 6 signatures with all my little threads. I kept on long enough that if I decide I want to put beads at the end, I can do that. If not, I can always trim them, or whoever ends up with the junk journal can do that as well. I haven't decided if I'm going to add beads yet. I might. We'll see. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. Or if there's anything that you'd like to see that I've done in the past and you're just curious how to create it, just let me know as well. Now, you don't need a sewing machine, but I love the stitching part. So I'll show you tips on how to sew, how you can still sew in your journal if you wanted to, or even just add the sewing marks or whatever in your journal. So you can sew things and glue it down after. So we'll make a pocket in the front here and in the back as well, because I love pockets, and then you can have all your bits in there if you want. We will go through the journal and check for spots like this to make it into a pocket. So see how I love a variety of paper. So we've got a wonderful variety in here. This one, I think this first signature, I'm not sure if there is a pocket that I made. Now you can make pockets as you go as well, right? You don't need to have folded your papers to have made a pocket, right? So this first signature doesn't really, except for the envelope. Now see how it's got this tape here? We can possibly cover that, or we can glue it down and then cut the end. Or we can just glue part of it, make it into a little tuck. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do with this flap, but we'll make it prettier. Or you can just leave it, and the recipient, if you're giving it as a gift or you want to sell your pieces or whatever, they could decorate it the way they want, right? So here's my first signature and my second signature. They're all different, so they have a wonderful variety of papers. I love this. Sorry about that. That is, my kids are home because it's Sunday. So you might hear them in the background being silly. So here's the variety of this journal. Now this is one that we could close and make into a pocket, right? So, and there's the third pocket. Now here is my first pocket, okay? See how I've got it folded? You could just leave it like that if you wanted to, or you could put a bead of glue right here and glue it down. Let's do that so that we can start doing stuff instead of me just rambling. Okay. Now you can use any glue that you choose. I like Fabri-Tac because I know it's going to hold. You could use a strong, sorry, I'm just getting sometimes it gets little goobers. Now it will be a little trickier, obviously. And then you just put a little bit of glue, oops, on the edge. Try to get it actually on the paper and not on the next one. And then you just squish it down, right? You want it to be well glued. Another thing you could do too is you could fold it down and put it through your machine this way, like if you want to sew, but it's quite a bit of work like that. It's a lot easier to do that beforehand. But I promised you guys that I would not use my sewing machine or just use it as embellishment. So this video will be without the sewing machine, and then I'll make maybe a second video if you guys want with different things that you can do to embellish with a sewing machine. So here's the other side of this one. I mean, the one side of the envelope. So we'll have another side here come up. Love this. Oh, there's another envelope that was not. See how it's a different type of envelope? So I've got a tuck spot this way, and then I think I will cut the end here. There's my scissors. So right now what we're doing is we're kind of prepping the journal. See, just like that. Now, as you could tell, it could easily come apart. So I'll put a little bit of glue at the end to hold this guy down, but I will also use it. Am I even in frame? Use it, oops, as a tuck spot for a card, a journal card, and then we'll put a card in here. Let's see if I've got something I can show you guys. So here's a card. You could put it this way as a tuck, or you could have it this way, right? Where you put your ephemera, and then you could put a tag or some kind of material to make like a little tab. You can also make a tab. Oh, there you go. There they are. Sorry, I was looking for something earlier and I couldn't find it. You could use a piece of card and just attach it as a tab like that. Or you could, let's see if I got some other little scraps. You could use a piece like this and fold it in half. And then you could cut it with your scissors, or you can just use, like I like to tear it. And then you fold it in half, and then you can make a tab that way, right? You put your card in between like that, keep it out, and then you can just staple it with a stapler. Or you could use glue. I love the staple marking. You can use a regular staple. I do have a tiny attacher, it's called. It's a Tim Holtz. Don't go and buy one just because, but I mean, if you want to, you can, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, you don't need it. That's what I'm trying to encourage in this series, as that you do not need to go buy all these things. You just use what you got. Here's a wonderful glue stick, but use extra strength. Any of the glue stick, don't use washable because it's going to come apart, right? Extra strength because you want it to stick. Glue stick works too. Sorry if I shook the camera there. Okay. I am doing a lot of chit-chatty this time. So this one, another thing you could do too with these envelopes is you could glue it down and make a pocket from the top here, and then you could like glue the bottom, like, let's do it. I'll show you instead of just telling you. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the end, right? Because we want this pocket to open. We're gonna glue the corner so that we can still use. So now you're gonna have 1, 2, 3 spots. So let's show you what I mean here. So we're gonna glue that corner, okay? And you want this to stay open, excuse me. So this corner's glued, right? So you can use the tuck. So you got a spot this way. You've got a spot this way. So now let's do another thing, right? So let's glue this bottom here. Okay, so we're gonna, excuse me, glue the bottom here and the top. Okay, so we're gonna make a pocket on the top part so that you have a total of 3 pockets, right? I just usually kind of lay right down, and then we can glue it all the way like that. And then you've got yourself, I'll show you what I mean by the different spots. I'm just gonna close that. So now we've got a spot up here. We've got a little, because we kept the top one open, right? So we've got a spot back here. And then we also have a spot here. So you got a pocket up here, pocket on the side. I'm trying to see if I've got another piece that I can put. And then you got a spot here. So how cool is that? So now it's attached to this sheet of paper, right? So that's another fun thing that you could do. And you can decorate. You remember the little pieces of papers that we had left over, like these little strips? You could use them to make clusters. So what I mean by that is what I do, and I always group things by 3. That's what I do, because everything works best in 3s, I think. So I just kind of want to see what the end is. So I don't want it perfect. I don't want it straight. I want it to be kind of raggedy, but I don't want it too long either. So you can go like this, and then there's another strip that I had left. So we'll go a 3rd piece, right? And then your last piece. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I've got these really cute like flowers, right, from the last one that we cut. So I'm going to just take a little piece, and then see, you just make it into like a cluster. So now you could use ink if you want. Now don't go buy ink if you don't have any, but it'll just make things pop off. I love this vintage photo ink. It's great. And this is just a makeup sponge. It works great. But usually I have a little, this is what it's called for the new ones. It's called Distress ink. The best way to get it, if you're in our area, is on Amazon. It's cheapest way. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but with Amazon Prime, it's actually pretty quick. Another thing you could use, like let's say you don't want to pay, this lasts quite a while. Let's say you don't want to buy Tim Holtz Distress ink. You could use like, what is it called? Shoe polish, I heard works well. Like the brown stuff that you can buy for your shoes. I would just buy the brown one. Oh, there's my daughter. Hello, lovey. So then you would just put them one on top of the other like that. I am putting a little cluster together. Now put it the way that you feel would look best. And then see how you've got 3. Sorry, I'm just making sure it's in frame. You have your 3. I like it like, you could put it like this, or you could, I think I like it this way. Do it whichever way you like it best. Now, you could glue them together, or you could use a stapler. Let's see if I can find my stapler under this lovely disaster I've got beside me. I believe it's underneath all this. I just moved some papers over. Sorry if my head went in screen there. Now I've got a tiny attacher, which is the small, tiny little stapler, but you can definitely use a regular stapler. I'm just trying to find my regular stapler. It's a bright orange. You would think I would be able to see it, but I can't see it. So we're just going to use this one because I have it close by. Sorry guys. I've got a lovely mess beside me here. Tumbling over. Anyways, so you use your little tiny, I love more than one staple. You don't have to do this. You can literally just use glue and glue it together. Okay, I'll show you what I mean here. So I'm going to move this to the side for a second. So hopefully you guys can see. I know it's a little further away. So now I would put a little bit of glue on where I know where it's going to go. So it'll position it at the same time. And then I think I want it kind of in the middle here. So there you've got your little cluster, right? I'm sorry. Right? It just gives it a little something. And then what you could do is use a stapler. You don't even have to glue it together at all. You could just use a stapler. And I use it. You could use it as make a little cross like that. Sorry. Hopefully you can see that. See how it's like a little cross. So it makes gives it a little depth. And then, sorry, these videos will be super long if I don't hurry. But I really want you guys to see. Now I put 2. So it just gives it a little character. I just like staples. I really do. So now you can make your little cluster. You could do that with all your scraps, and then you can attach it where you want it, right? You could put it here, or you could put it in the corner. Let's say you want to put it here, but you don't want it sticking out. Like you find that this is too long. Mine is okay. It fits perfect, actually. I think this is where I will glue it. Or you could also put it down here. If you want more texture, you could put trim, like lace of some sort, or material that has a different texture, kind of like this. You could also use cheesecloth. It's like this stuff material. It just gives it texture in the back. This cheesecloth you can also dye with tea. Like any of your material, you can dye it with tea. And I can link my video on how I did it. Sorry, the kids are getting a little loud in the background there. So you could use a little bit of cheesecloth, which you can find this cheesecloth in a dollar store or in your grocery store easily. And you could put it in the background, right? So it gives it texture, and I usually ink it up as well. And it just gives it texture, right? So I'll be right back. I'm just going to close my door because it's very loud. Okay. So that would give you a little bit, oh my gosh. Hopefully it hasn't been like this the whole time. Is it not clear? Okay, here. It went back clear again. Oh, I hope that this wasn't in not in focus the whole time. I should have checked the screen earlier. Anyways, hopefully it wasn't, and it was just because I brought the cluster up front. Now my staples are stuck in the cheesecloth. So look around. Yeah, I think that's what happened. It's not auto-focusing. So what I did was I pressed the screen so you guys could kind of see. And then when I take it out, I hope that's all it was. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. Hopefully you saw what I was doing there. But, so, let's commit and glue it down. Sounds good? So this is a great way of using your scraps. Another thing I do as well is I will literally go through all of my scraps and just sew them. So I would put like a little sew across, like a sewing machine mark across, and then it gives you that little sewing part on it. So it's completely up to you. If you don't have a sewing machine, I don't go and buy one just because. Or you could go online and go on those, you know, giveaway sites or whatever they're called. A lot of people have older sewing machines that you can use and they work just fine. They work perfect, to be honest. Most of the older machines seem to work better. Now I got a little staple sticking up here, so I'm just gonna put it down with my fingers, with my nails. Okay, so let's glue this down. I don't want to do the videos too long just because I don't want them, because it takes a while for them to download. Now, another thing you could do with these little guys is keep them, if you don't have the staple, like if you don't staple, you won't have those little markings on the back. And what happens with that is that if you would use it like as a little tuck spot, it would get caught in those staples. So I would advise not to use staples if you want to use it like as a tuck spot. Like let's say I want to put something behind like this. This is what I mean by tuck spot. For the ones that don't make journals out there. I know there's a couple of you guys that have been watching, so. Okay, so this would be your little decoration, right? So another thing you could do too is put labels if you wanted to, or just choose whatever you want, because this is your journal. You can also decorate as you go while you're writing it. But if you want to give it, so here we go. We've got a little spot here, a little spot there, and a little spot there. Now, before I usually commit and leave the cards in there, I always wait till the glue is completely set, like dried completely. Otherwise, I have had moments where my card was stuck at the bottom with the glue. It got caught. So just a tip, okay? Little things I have learned along the way. So let's keep going and see if we have any other pockets that we need to cut. Oh, here's one right here. So I will cut this. Now I want you guys, I'm going to give you different options of what you can do. You don't have to, but just different things I do. You could use a circle punch like this and or you could just cut it out yourself too. You don't need to do the groove, right? So you could do just the top if you want. Oh, I'm gonna put it upside down so I can see. Or you can do both and cut it, or you could do just the top, which I'll put one at the bottom here. See, you've got like a little groove so people know it's a pocket in there, right? See, just like that. And then you can put a large card, like a journaling card you could put in there. Okay, let's just keep going. I'll just show you guys the different pages. And here's the other side. Now let's just put some of this. Let's experiment and see how well it holds. Now I don't put, like I said, I don't put cards until this is completely dry. You want to make sure you got the corner as well. Now, if I wanted to use the sewing machine, I would probably do these pockets before I sewed it in. Okay, so just an FYI. Sorry, guys. Okay, so now we're gonna put some more on this pocket. You could just leave it like that too if you wanted to. I just going to glue the side and then just push it down. Okay, there we go. This is this one. Now I know for a fact that there's the other side, right? There's got to be, because it's always your half of a. So I'm going to get this one now. Glue it. And then see if there's one in this one. And then, oh, there's another one here. I was trying to kind of spread them out. And because this journal is, I use scrapbooking papers, so they're bigger than regular sheets of paper. That's how I got my pockets. I believe I showed you guys that anyways. But I just thought I would show you guys the different pages at the same time. And we'll glue the last one back here. And then we'll see how well it holds. Another thing you could do with your strips of paper that you cut off is attach them on the edges of your papers like this, right? Let's say you want to try to do a ruffle, which would be like, you just fold it like this. See how you got like kind of like a little triangle? Fold it down, and then you could staple it or you could glue it. So it makes like a little, I try not to make it perfect. That's just because I like it kind of wobbly, the ruffle. So this is what you would call a paper ruffle. And then you could just attach it to the side of your paper. So that would give you like different options to the side of your papers. See how it's kind of going crooked? Then you would pop it kind of at an angle. And now you've got yourself a ruffle. Now you could glue these little ruffles down in here. I usually use the sewing machine to sew right through. But like I said, I wasn't going to use the sewing machine. You could staple it down. That's another way of using it. So let's see here where we could use it. We'll use it on this one. See how it's got like, and I don't need a huge ruffle. I'm just gonna make it about this size. So then I like to cut my ruffles in an angle. I don't know, I just like it that way. So I'll cut it in an angle. Another thing you could do is use a stapler to staple these. But because of, I told you guys I wasn't going to use a sewing machine right now. Next episode we'll do some stuff with the sewing machine. I'm just inking the edges so that it kind of pops out, makes it pop out a bit. If you don't have the makeup rep, you can also just use it like this, the ink pad. I did that. It will make it darker though, so just be aware of that. But it gives it a different, it's a darker kind of color, more rustic. And then I usually do all these folds, so I'll pull it up and do the edge. Just like that. Right? And then you can use your, if you don't have a makeup brush, it's all right. You don't have to use these. But I just find that it, I don't know, blends it a little bit better. Don't worry about it coming apart because you're going to glue it once you're done with the inking, right? Oops. Okay, so now you can see where all your folds are this way too, right? So just fold it back and let's use the glue stick again. Make sure it's heavy duty though, a good glue stick. And then just glue the edges like that. Now I will show you, because you got to do the back as well if you're going to do it this way. If you're going to use your sewing machine, you don't have to glue them. You can, I guess, if you are worried about them not holding. Another thing you can do is use these little clips and put it in between two, like it'll help it to hold it down. excuse me, if you can reach both, you can do 2 at a time. This one, do I have glue? Oh, no, I don't remember if I did. So I'm going to just hold it down real quick. And just like that. And then you can clip it to get it to kind of bond, right? Now you could glue the back side too, right here, right? So there's your ruffle. That's what you call it, like a paper ruffle. So then I'm going to decide where I want to put it. Now I don't want it to fall off, so I'm going to use Fabri-Tac because it just holds better. And with this Fabri-Tac, it does not, it's got what you call, what's it called? Sorry, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It will not like wrinkle your paper. If you use like a wet glue, it might wrinkle your paper. This stuff doesn't. It's got, oh, come on, what is it called? Why can't I think of the name? Anyways, it's got a adhesive in it that won't wrinkle your papers. Like if you put lots of white glue, it would wrinkle your paper. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Now, of course, I did not measure that because I'm silly. But this is my ruffle, right? So I will glue it like that. And then what you can do again is just go like that, so it'll hold it better because it's a ruffle, so it's got more folds, so you don't want it to come off, right? So yeah, so now you got yourself a ruffle on the edge. So once it's dry, then it'll be kind of popping on the edge of your paper, so that's kind of cool, I think. You could ink the other side as well if you want, because it's going to be white. And with Fabri-Tac, you don't have to wait long. It bonds really quick. I don't know if I put some all the way back. And there you go. You got yourself a little ruffle. So then you can see on the edge, see how you've got the ruffle here. Hopefully I am in frame. But for now, so that these are not super long videos, I will stop here and I will show you more stuff next time. I'm sorry, I was hoping to do more, but it's already 30 minutes, so too much jibber jabbering. And these, you know how I folded it and I told you guys you could use it as a tab on your tag? You can also use these as tabs on the side of your papers, right? So wherever you want, you could put like wherever, I don't know, I'm just trying to find something like this, right? And then you could staple it. Let's do that real quick. Put one at the top and one at the bottom. So you've got yourself a tab that way. See on the edge of your papers? So that's another little thing that you can do with your pieces of paper. So for now, just for now, for today, I will leave it at that. And I hope you are enjoying this series. If there is something you want to see, let me know. And I can definitely include it along with the next video. So I hope you have a great day and we will chat soon. Bye for now.